Welcome, this is a recorded session of the Post-Quantum Cryptography Conference of the PKI Consortium. This conference would not have been possible without our sponsors, PQ Shield, SSL.com, Entrust, Keyfactor, HID Global, and the organizational support of the Post-Quantum Cryptography Working Group of the PKI Consortium, and in particular, Entrust, Keyfactor, and Logius. Would you like to join the PKI Consortium? Go to pkic.org/join, or contact us if you would like to become a sponsor.
All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed lunch. My name is Chris Gantus, and I'm a Technical Solutions Director at Entrust, and I have the pleasure of introducing the next three speakers for this afternoon. The first speaker, I want to mention that she literally did not know she was presenting until Friday of last week. So, yeah, absolutely. So, certainly kudos to Innie for putting together a presentation, having it ready, and by virtue of the fact that one of the original speakers slated for this time slot was not able to join us this week, Innie quickly stepped in, so thank you. So with that, the first talker of the afternoon is Innie Kong. Innie is a PhD researcher at the Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands, and Innie's going to talk to us about online quantum-safe readiness questionnaire tool. Innie?
Hello. Oh, yes, it works. Hello, hi. I'm Innie Kong from the Netherlands. I'm a PhD researcher in my last year at Delft University of Technology. I'm part of a research group called HAPGIDO, which is a 5-year initiative that aims to develop a roadmap towards quantum-safe public key infrastructure system. Today, I would like to share about the online quantum-safe readiness questionnaire tool and share the perspectives from academia, and utilizing the empirical data and addressing context-specific challenges related to the PKIs. Oh,
Oh, good.
Oh, okay. So our research began in 2021. Today's presentation is divided into 2 parts. I would like to first talk about research methods and key findings that led to organizational quantum-safe readiness tool. Then I will briefly talk about online version of the tool with some features that we have, and then our next steps. So we started our research back in 2021 with some of the challenges, because we wanted to be context-specific to PKIs. And from the literature, we found about 2,266 articles. And from that, we did some exclusions and came up with around 135 articles to be reviewed. And then we took some apart because they were not context-specific to PKIs or related to quantum-safe transition. So that led to about 42 relevant articles to review. And here we have about 24 challenges from the literature that we found. So after the literature review, we wanted to dive into the practice. We wanted to interview practitioners to understand, okay, what are the challenges that are actually relevant to PKI professionals? So we interviewed government agencies, bank, research institutes, software companies, and service providers. And this gave us into more of a 15 related challenges, and we clustered into technological context, organizational context, and ecosystem context. So here are challenges that have been driven, more refined after the interviews. Then we held workshops. We wanted to examine the context of the study and invited experts to really share what is it that is going on. So what we did was we used something called ISM MICMAC. ISM MICMAC stands for interpretive structural modeling, cross-impact matrix multiplication applied to classification. So to give you a bit of idea, we're trying to understand the relationship between the challenges. How are challenges affecting each other, or are they even related at all? So if you look at here on the, so here vertical, you see a challenge from 1 to 15. And then we also make that challenge on the horizontal. And we're really understanding, okay, how are these challenges related? And then in this way, we could kind of get a more of a comprehensive picture of what is it that organizations are facing that may hinder the quantum state transition. So in this white boxes, starting from yellow, we punch in 4 letters, V, A, X, O, depending on whether these challenges influence one another, or whether they don't influence each other, or not at all. And then from that, we get some sort of code with 4 letters. And then, so this is after the session, after the workshop, we take home, and then we have to analyze this. And with that, certain number belongs to certain ones and zeros binaries, and then we punch in again some of the findings. It looks like that. So a bunch of zeros and ones. So relevant to the topic of PKIs, isn't it? And then this is an initial reachability matrix. And what we have to do is we have to refine this to find the final reachability matrix. In order to do that is you have to put a concept of transitivity in it. So basically it is, if a factor A influences factor B, and the factor B influences factor C, it also means that factor A also influences factor C. So we go through this process, and then this gives a bit of refined findings with our matrix. So we did that, and now we have to calculate. We're trying to find the dependency power and the driving power between the challenges. So what that led to is some of the results like this. So this is a driving power and dependency power diagram. So you see that there's a lot of challenges clustered into one corner. Well, what does this mean? It's in the linkage corner, which is for quantum state transition. All 15 challenges were placed in this quadrant, indicating that all transition challenges are interrelated and they impact each other. So there's no less driving power or dependency power or either or, but more of, okay, all challenges have high dependency power and high driving power. And then we again also looked at developing a hierarchical structural model using these different challenges. What led to is starting from the L4 at the bottom, these are challenges that need to be addressed with priority. And then once you acknowledge challenges, you move up the ladder, and then at L1, you finally reach some challenges that are affected by other challenges at the bottom. So we could see that there is a lot of external challenges that are influencing a lot of internal challenges that our organizations are facing. And then we conducted this workshop throughout different organizations. And then we have some key takeaways. So this brings us to some of the key findings, where first, no independent challenges with strong driving power and weak dependency power. What does this mean? Well, there's no single solution to quantum state transition that can unlock an organization in dealing with a lot of other challenges. Second, quantum safe transition involves many uncertainties and is still at early stage. That's why there are so many challenges that are interlinking each other, and this also means that changes in one status of a challenge can influence other. And delays in also one challenge may result in delays in other challenges. The third is that ecosystem and technological challenges are influencing organizational challenges. So we see that a lot of ecosystem challenges like availability of quantum safe standards or selection of quantum safe solution algorithm validated through testing and things like that. So we see that some actors may be involved in making external decisions in the ecosystem, and this may also lead to others, organizations that may wait for those decisions and follow the lead. Then why an organizational quantum safe readiness model? Organization may need to navigate quantum safe transition with the changing environment. So we talked about the standardization process, availability of quantum safe technology, so hardwares and availability of the selection that has been validated through testing and things like that. There's a lot of organizations are facing with the challenges that are a bit unknown. And second is that organization cannot make decisions on their own because we're part of the ecosystem. And one of the key phrase that we're mentioning is, if we're not secure together, we're not really secure, right? So there's also importance in organizations. They need to be ready with the ecosystem. So this is some of the reasons what led to our development of an organizational readiness tool, because there is currently a lack of tool to prepare organization for the transition with some of the actionable steps. And we see that there's a lot of uncertainties regarding quantum safe transition. So organizations kind of need an overview of the complexity that involves with quantum safe transition. So aligned quantum safe readiness questionnaire tool, we have 3 objectives. To identify dimensions that organization may need to work on. And second, to assess the level of organizational readiness for quantum safe transition. And third, to provide the list of possible recommendations to better navigate the specific actions needed. And the target audience of the tool would be information security officers, security managers, security awareness coordinators, CISOs, compliance analysts, business continuity planner, etc. So after a series of workshops with participants who have prior technical background and knowledge and experience in the industry, academia, and government, through the process, we gained a common understanding of dimensions that organizations may need to consider when transitioning their infrastructure to quantum safe and to implement and adopt the quantum safe technology. We finalized the list of dimensions that was used to develop the model, which are collaboration, awareness, governance, policy and regulation, quantum safe solution standards, hybrid quantum safe solution, cryptographic security strategy, and knowledge on quantum safe transition. Yes, so they're from level 0 to level 5. Each dimension has a logical sequence of moving from low readiness to a higher level of readiness. So it looks something like this. So by dissecting the complexities into a set of dimensions and looking at different levels of readiness, the model allows organizations to focus on areas that have low readiness levels and identify possible recommendations that may be actionable. So based on the model shown on the previous slide, we're making an online version of the tool with questionnaire. As you can see, these are some of the examples with some questions. By fulfilling each state of readiness, the model provides a way for organizations to recognize that okay, there are different areas they need to prepare. And they really need to navigate, okay, how are we doing in this dimension over another? Are we focusing also on this dimension, right? So some of the question would ask, how would you rate the level of communication and information sharing between your organization and other organizations within your ecosystem? This would be an example question. Another would be, to what extent has your organization evaluated the effectiveness and compliance of the existing policies and regulation with regards to quantum state transition? Other questions would also include, have you identified your internal stakeholders? Have you identified your external stakeholders? Do you know who should be involved in your organization? And has your organization identified which part of your business processes needs to be addressed with priority? So these are some of the example questions that that we use to determine the readiness of the organization. So now we're in the phase of putting together all the materials into the tool. So we have a series of iteration and feedback sessions to improve the tool. We're aiming to get an automated features that offer recommendation based on the results so that it could be tailored. And we see that as a very important feature because there's so many different organizations and the organization also across ecosystem with different levels. And then details of the tool may be subject to change as quantum state transition evolves. This is because depending on the changes that occur in the development of, let's say, quantum state technology and how quantum state transition proceeds in the ecosystem, we may gain some more clarity. And also, possible recommendations also could be a bit more detailed as well. And we hope to have a MVP online tool possibly on the Q2. So our research looks at both bottom-up and top-down approach. Through our research, we see that there are different scope of influence for quantum safe transition is occurring in both directions. And of course, for those who are interested in more theoretical aspects of our research, here are some references. And yeah, now we're busy writing a paper on the boundary condition, which is a set of requirements which may need to be satisfied to become quantum safe in the ecosystem. And this may also signal different organizations to start preparing for quantum safe transition. And perhaps there's also a need for continuous learning and growth that may be needed to prepare for quantum safe transition. Oh, and thank you for listening. Yes, and that will be all.
Very well done. Thank you, Annie. Very insightful presentation. Questions from the audience? And Bill, sure. I can see.
The first part where you had the boxes that said lack of something, and you use that to make a study. Have you thought about turning one of those into, I know a place where there isn't a lack, and then redoing the studies so it has less lacks, but one maybe strong positive that would see a difference between the obvious difference? Is that a strategy in the future?
Yes, that is possible because this was conducted also already 2.5 years ago. So it's compiled of all the research. So it is definitely, as quantum safe transition also evolves, we also have changes in how we go about in the trajectories, right? So in those ways, we could perhaps go and then do something more detailed. And yeah, because we first based this on the literature and interviews as an input, but of course you could do this approach with more detailed, different way to approach.
And a slight nudge as you get to your questionnaire tool. By the time I got to like the third slide that said QS, I was like, wait, is that quantum safe or quantum secure? You know, so just,
it is quantum safe.
Yeah, I saw that. So just yes. You're not saving paper. Put quantum safe on every if it fits.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Just to help short
yes,
attention
that's
span.
good. Thank you. Yeah.
Any questions from the bridge? Talk about. Oh, we've got one more question.
I wonder what the target audience for this tool is, because companies, for example, that worry about this transition usually work in sensitive areas. And how do you protect the data when it's an online tool where companies input their basically their values, their assets?
Yeah, that is actually a very good question. We are trying to do iterations to see whether this tool has the usability and then has the relevancy in it. Regarding a lot of questionnaire, like in the questions in the questionnaire, they're very high-level general questions, but we are not aiming to store the data. So it would be downloadable in the other organization or whoever taking the test. So this is will be publicly available online, but it's not something that will be stored.
Okay,
yes.
thanks.
Yes.
So when you talk about organizations can be quite large, can be quite small, they could be super vertically focused, they could be potentially producers of PQC, right, within their technology. Is this tailored to a particular type of organization, or is it agnostic in that regard?
It is more of a, I would say, a general level, because we all have to become quantum safe. Of course, there's different organizations may participate in different decision makings in the ecosystem, right? For instance, policy, regulations, or selecting standardized for, like, say, sector-specific solutions. So when we look at the questionnaire tool, it is a very generic high level, but for a lot of SMEs, small, medium enterprises, there's a bit of lack of knowledge and resources available. So we do hope that this could also be a bit useful for the SMEs, but I've also interviewed a bit more larger organizations. So in the case of a larger organization, the complexity is even greater. And when we say simply, do the cryptographic inventory check, and then they say, okay, yeah, we know that, but how? What do you mean? There's so many things. So we try to make the questionnaire to be able to have some sort of a guideline that's saying, okay, but with priority. Do you know which priority and which needs to be start getting transitioned first? So we try to help, I guess, the tool to guide a bit more of a generic guideline, and to kind of tone down the complexity that is already there.
Do you potentially foresee kind of like a forking the tool into questionnaires for specific types of organizations so that it's a little more focused in particular areas, or do you maintain some sort of generic level?
Yeah, so because this is a part of also a research project, right, that has a 5-year initiative, of course I think this it has potential, and I think it has really usefulness in terms of that, but because there's a limit to, of course he also talked about the data being stored, or to what extent can this be utilized, so I think there's a bit of limitation in going a bit further. But yeah, that's how far I could discuss at this point.
Well, sure.
My name is Ton, also from the Netherlands. I'm curious, does this Hapkido project, will it end to a certain date? Is the research done and deal closed, or will it be continuous?
I think it is indeed by 2026 it ends.
It ends.
Yes.
But we know the quantum challenge by itself will not end.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
I think that is. Yes, I think that is
prepped.
also a discussion in terms of a research area and academic area, right? Yeah. So. But then it will still, all the resources and things will be still available publicly, and yeah.
I think we have one question from the online.
There's a question, Ini, from the remote attendees. Just 1 second. No name, but Ini, how do you manage the consistency and accuracy of results? Every person can have different opinion, resulting in different readiness results.
Yes, thank you for the question. I feel like I'm already at my PhD defense. But yes, I think that leaves room for some limitations, right? And there's always limitation in research. And of course, a lot of focus was done in the Netherlands. So I get that is something that, as a researcher, I should address at front. Yes.
Great practice for the upcoming PhD thesis defense. Thank you, Annie.